Welcome to the IndieWire Studio presented by Dropbox at the 2025 Sundance Film Festival. My name is Ryan Lattanzio and I'm the Deputy Editor of Film at IndieWire. Today we are here with the team behind the new film Rebuilding. So we have writer-director Max Walker-Silverman and stars Meghann Fahy, Josh O'Connor, Lily LaTorre, and Kali Reis. Thank you all for being here today, and I just wanted to personally say I'm such a fan of this movie, so it's great to have a chance to talk to you all. Max, I thought I would start with you because you've been at Sundance before with another film called A Love Song that also deals with kind of a person at a crossroads in Colorado as well. You grew up in Telluride. What was personal about the story for Rebuilding to you?
I guess, everything I've done has probably at some level come from driving around in a very slow car and looking out the window. A Love Song, I think ultimately was, set in these same big landscapes with similar quiet people, and was in many ways a movie about solitude and finding some solace in it. This movie probably became a story that went in a different direction and instead was looking for solace in community. For me, it was born in a summer in which I just moved home back to Colorado after being away for a little while, and it was a tough summer. It was dry. The town felt like it was struggling. It was smoky. There were fires all over. My grandmother's house burned ultimately that summer, which was devastating, but also became this sort of strange, magical thing that brought the family together in a way. Brought our neighbors together in a way, and there was loss in that, but like an incredible outpouring of kindness as well. And maybe through that experience, I began to see how there could be a future in what felt like a very uncertain place. And this movie became an effort to imagine what that could look like. Maybe it's what it will be, and maybe it's what it won't, but it's what I hope it will be. And that's a future where, through the really hard changes that we're all gonna face, whether they're fires or floods or anything else, there's like some hope in the people we can come together with afterwards. And hopefully that's something we can continue to do and not just happen once, but over and over through our lives.
And with Josh being the lead, is that exactly who you had in mind to play the main character?
Yeah, I mean, it's a character who is kind of quiet and burdened, but through all of that needed to retain profound pride and dignity. And his struggle is really complicated, and he's faced with really hard choices and doesn't always get those choices right necessarily, at least at first. And in Josh, I knew I had someone who we would feel for all through that, who would bring, like, it's a strange word, but humanity, like whatever that means, is like a real person who all the weight that they carry and also all the hopes can come through the quietest, smallest things, which is really all he had to work with in a very gentle script. And yeah, I'm so honored to work with this guy, really. It's, on set, sometimes you feel like you are getting the movie you need, and sometimes you don't, but it always felt like when the camera came onto him, that's where the movie was. So it was a great beating heart to have at the middle of it all.
Yeah, so Josh, you're playing a guy whose ranch, in Colorado, unfortunately burns down during a fire, and he's relocated to this temporary FEMA housing. When you did La Chimera, you kind of lived in this camper van in Italy and really did a really immersive process to become that character. Was there anything like that you did for this movie?
Well, no. I mean, I didn't live in my camper van, but no. I mean, I suppose in some ways, the thing about I suppose with every project, for me, it's always just about like how can you fit yourself into an environment that your character's in. So really fortunately on this project, Max is has such a great understanding of the landscape and of the area. And so, first of all, Max and I had lots of conversations before I got there. When I got there, we did like a few trips out in your truck and sort of went and looked around the place. And then the other big advantage was that, you know, whilst it was a quite short shoot, really, we did have, we shot continuously. All the stuff that was shot, that takes place in the FEMA camp was continuous, right? I think over like 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So we were in this one location for 2 weeks, and it felt like, first of all, I've never been really, maybe apart from Elite Chase film, on a film set where there is such a family feeling. You know, every single person in this film, whether it's cast, crew, production, we were all in it together, and that partly came down to like these 2 weeks in this FEMA camp, where we were just kind of living in the desert and living on top of each other. So whilst I wasn't in a camper van on the side of a hill, I felt like there were aspects of that was just from the way Max makes movies.
Yeah. No, now I realize you didn't live in the camper van, but you spent quite a lot of time in there.
No, but I did. I basically did live in it when I made that movie. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kali, what were your impressions of that location within the 2 weeks that sounds like that you spent there?
Well, the landscape in itself is such a beautiful character and an addition. It's really kind of, we're placed in this like portrait of just beautiful landscape, even though, you know, there's a natural disaster. It's just so much beauty to look at. And then you have these trailers sitting in the middle of that, and it's a lot. It says a lot. And like Josh was saying, we had, you know, the whole film is based around, you know, community coming together, but it was, you know, it was kind of hard sometimes to tell whether it was just the story we were telling or what we were actually doing in real life. So it just added to the camaraderie and the really closeness that we had. So it was beautiful. Like I said before, there was not a bad sunset. I mean, we saw all kinds of natural lightning storms and everything, but it was just kind of intertwined with the story we were telling. It was really a great location. It was hot some days, but it was just added to the whole feel of the film.
Was this a movie where locals were embedded into the production at all? I kind of felt like I kind of got that vibe from it.
Yeah, I mean, both in front of and behind the camera. And I've really learned that to make a film, it's beautiful to share a piece of art with people. That's a nice thing. But the creating of it, what you get to do is you enter places and enter lives that you never would otherwise. And as you wind up building this thing and this team and this infrastructure, you meet just the most incredible people, and those become part of the project. So we had this cast, like these incredible actors, these like real pros, every single one of them, and they built a world and a community with a lot of locals who were in the movie too. It's both a slightly unnatural thing that wouldn't happen outside of these very specific circumstances of this thing we're trying to make, and also as human and broad an experience as there is. People are thrown together for strange circumstances all the time, and more often than not, I choose to believe they can like each other and love each other and build something together. And I'm very proud of the fact that that's what we were able to do.
Meghann and Lily, what did you two do to build a sort of plausible mother-daughter relationship?
When I first arrived on set and when I first met Meghann, we kind of just hung out in between scenes. Like, I would go and do a scene with Josh and then come back and hang out with Meghann, or with Meghann and Josh. And we would just kind of hang out, and we kind of got the relationship from just talking and finding out what each other like, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty natural, I would say. And Lily is such a wonderful and curious person that she made it just so easy. She just was very excited to learn things about other people and ask them questions about their thoughts about things. So yeah, it was just a pure joy to get to know ya.
In our last moment, Josh, I wanted to ask you something completely unrelated, which was, how bummed were you about Challengers being shut out of the Oscars? And particularly, I would think original score, because I really thought we had that one in the bag.
I thought we had that in the, but no, I'm joking. No, I mean, I'm not overly, I actually think that it's like an amazing, all the nominations are so good this year. There's like so many great films. But then I do think that every year, I'm like always amazed what artists create. And it's just, you know, I don't mind, you know, it's like, it's cool that particularly this year, like 2 movies that I really love in Lucky Mirror and Challengers, and I'm just so thrilled that people liked them and got to see them. So.
And Lucky Mirror was kind of also part of 2023, so
got stuck in between,
yeah,
it's like
so
a void, but yeah,
yeah.
I'm proud of both of them. So yeah, that's the, wasn't overly concerned about that, yeah.
For sure. All right, well, on that note, thank you all so much for
Thanks.
coming in. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks.
You too.